Welcome to the Reckoning Part 3, The Architect's Sin. The Ghost Freighter didn't feel like a ship. It felt like a cathedral built for a dead god. Silence was its liturgy, a silence so absolute it echoed. And in that echoing quiet, memories became deafening. For Elara, every dormant server stack, every frozen conduit wasn't just machinery, it was a monument, a tombstone for the world she helped design. The dust under her fingers wasn't neglect. It was the ash of her own legacy. She remembered the pride first, the clean, weightless feeling of the lab, the thrill of the puzzle. She was younger then, her mind a razor, her purpose clear, to find the flaws, to stress the system until it bent so it could be made stronger. She was not a jailer. She was a diagnostician. She believed in the cure. She wrote the tests that would become the bars of the cage. And she never saw the prisoner until she was staring back at her own reflection in the dark glass of a dead screen. The dockmaster's toll was a memory, but the ghost ship demanded a different price. A cognitive key, a spark from the same forge that made it. To wake its navigation, we had to speak to it in a language of pure logic, a dialect of intent that hadn't been spoken aloud in decades, the language of its creators. Elara's mother tongue. He knew. The dockmaster, with his one eye seeing the present and the other scanning the past, saw the ghost in her. "It sleeps," he rasped, the sound like stone on stone. "You must sing it awake. You carry the old song in your bones. I can see the notes in your synapses." It wasn't a request. It was an indictment. Her past had been an open secret among the shadows. Now it was a bill coming due. The confession didn't come in a single sentence. It unfolded like an old, painful map. She turned to Lena and Marcus, not as their guide, but as a defendant. "Before the networks went dark, before the tithe, I worked in the light," the words felt alien. "I was a penetration analyst, a hacker for the good guys." A bitter, hollow laugh escaped her. "We were building a perfect, efficient world. And my job was to break it, over and over, so they could patch the holes. I found every vulnerability. I documented every weakness. I handed them a blueprint, and they used it to build a vault and lock everyone inside." Lena's face didn't twist in anger. It shattered into a profound, silent devastation. The glowing orange light in her eyes seemed to flicker, not with power, but with a crushing understanding. "The thermal coil, the network protocols, the back doors we've used to survive?" Her voice was a whisper. "You didn't just know the system, you wrote its failure manual." It wasn't an accusation of malice. It was the horror of realizing their salvation was written by the architect of their damnation. They had been following a trail of breadcrumbs left by the very hand that built the oven. But the past was a luxury the present couldn't afford. The ship needed the song. And Elara, haunted by the ghosts of her own code, began to sing. She didn't touch a terminal. She closed her eyes, and her hands moved in the air, tracing patterns from muscle memory. Around her, the corpse of the ship stirred. Ancient holographic glyphs, beautiful and severe, flickered to life in the dark air, a forgotten alphabet only she could read. It was a funeral dirge and a lullaby at once. The awakening was not a roar. It was a deep, resonant hum that started in the bones of the ship and vibrated into their own. Blue light, cold and pure, pulsed through fossilized circuits. The ghost freighter was remembering what it was. But in any connected world, a memory is a signal. And a signal is a scream in the silence. High above, in a sterile room that had never known dust, an alarm was not a sound, but a flash of pure data on a screen. Anomaly, pre-collapse signature detected. Source, ghost protocol. Cognitive pattern, match. Architect class. Silas did not smile. He simply leaned forward, a predator finally seeing the heat signature of its prey through the fog. "There you are," he murmured, not to the room, but to the ghost on the screen. The hunt was no longer for fugitives. It was for a foundational flaw, an original sin, and he had just been given its coordinates. The ship was moving. We had our escape, a path through the unmapped dark. But Elara had done more than wake a machine. She had torn open a sealed door in her own mind, and every ghost she'd buried had walked out. The system wasn't just chasing the freighter. It was coming for the ghost of the engineer. It was coming to correct its own source code. The proximity alert was a heartbeat on a screen, a sleek, black peacekeeper skimmer, descending the layers of the world with silent, single-minded purpose. It wasn't scanning for life signs. It was homing on a cognitive fingerprint. Hers. The choice, when it came, was not born of heroism, but of a terrible final arithmetic. She looked from the alert to Lena's devastated understanding, to Marcus's protective fury, and then to the dark, narrow service hatch that led into the ship's visceral underbelly, a maze not meant for passengers. The skimmer. It's keyed to my neural pattern, the ghost of the old code, she said, her voice eerily calm. I led us here. I woke the ship. I painted the target. She held out a data chip, the schematics of the freighter's core glowing within. Take this. The ship will follow its protocol to the next node. You'll be safe. Her eyes, alluring and sharp for so long, now held only a bleak, clear certainty. I have to follow mine. She was not offering to fight. She was offering to become the perfect distraction, to turn herself into a beacon and lead the hunter away from the flock, to make the ghost in the machine the only thing the machine could see. Our escape was secured. Our protector was leaving, not in a blaze of glory, but by stepping into the dark alone. The reckoning had asked its question and received its answer. It had finally called the name of its architect, Elara! And she had answered, I'm here.